What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Spice Wars, and today I am going to be showing you my Kylo Ren focus in my collection. I would say I've probably got upwards of 50 different pieces to show you today. I'll spend a little bit more time on some of the ones that I like the most, or some that are, a little cooler than others or whatnot, but let's start by just doing some of the basic stuff. Obviously, Kylo Ren is introduced to us in The Force Awakens. He is the son of Han Solo and Leia, making him, a pretty crucial part to the main Skywalker saga. Looking forward to see what they do with him in the final installment of the saga, in about a week and a half or so, when the Rise of Skywalker comes out. Alright, so let's start with some of the just smaller, cheaper stuff, whatever, that's just kind of cool, like we've got the classic when you're a kid and you got the lightsaber that you flick out. It's all plastic, of course, and it's real cheap, but it's fun. So of course, get the fun, cheap little stuff in the collection. And then this is like the smallest, definitely the smallest Kylo Ren figure that I've got in my collection. It's him and his little like TIE Whisper or TIE Silencer. It's like a Micro Machines toy. It's got a little like ball on it so it can roll on the bottom, ball bearing. But he's such a tiny little figure. I just had to have him for like $3 or $4. And then we've got, today I went to the Village Gate toy show, which is in Rochester, New York. Village Gate is kind of like a mall type setup with a bunch of different businesses in it. It's 2 stories, and then twice a year they do toy shows. And it's hit or miss, to be honest. Sometimes I have really good luck there, sometimes not so much. Today I did find a couple cool figures. I found these 2 these little mini figures of Kylo Ren. This one is the knockoff one. It's very, 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 very similar to a lot of the parts they use for the actual Lego one. This one is the actual Lego one. So like you can see, I don't know if you could see in the video, but basically his suit is painted very similarly. There are subtle differences. Oddly enough, the metallic paint they used for like his little sash buckle or belt buckle is actually better on the knockoff than it is on the Lego, in my opinion. But anyway, so I found the knockoff, I think, for $3. And it comes with a removable helmet, but once you take the helmet off, the small like Lego style head in there still has his helmet print on it, and that's because you can take this little hood it comes with, and kind of pop it down on over that, so it's like the hooded version of him. It doesn't look very good, to be honest, with the hood, so he's gonna be displayed with the helmet. Back on there. The one thing I will say is that the helmets, they're nearly identical. I think the only difference literally is if you flip it on the, oh, see, I put the wrong one on there, so close. This is the Lego one. It says Lego on the inside of it. This is the knockoff one. They're so close, like I said, that I put the Lego one on the knockoff. But yeah, so that's the knockoff one I grabbed today, from a gentleman who had a booth at the toy show in Rochester, New York at Village Gate. And then I grabbed from a different vendor the official Lego mini Kylo Ren figure. I believe it was $10. Came with the helmet, of course the cape, a little bit jagged cut on the back edge. Cool thing about this one is you pull the hair off, and he's got an angry face on the front, and then you can twist the head around. I'm not going to do it because it'll move his whole cape around, but he's got like just some more like frustrated, I guess, grumpy face on that side, and just, like I said, it's real anger on this side. And then of course you can put the helmet on, I like the proportions. I like goofy proportions to things. That's probably why I like Funko so much, because they always have such weird, you know, caricature-like proportions. But yeah, so I like the proportions on this one with the helmet. But it is kind of cool, and you know, have something, you know, oddly laying there like his hair, to just display him like this, and then maybe have his helmet next to him. It'd be interesting to find another one of these and maybe do some of the red detail lines like the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren for the upcoming film. Yeah, that was a cool one. These glasses came from The Force Awakens when the movie came to theaters. They did 4 different pairs. I got one of each. They did Kylo Ren, of course, Captain Phasma, First Order Stormtrooper, and a BB-8 pair that was like white and orange and kind of rounded. It was kind of cool. Basically, the Phasma and the First Order Stormtrooper ones look fairly similar to this, but a little more angled, like the Stormtrooper and Phasma helmet is. And obviously, you know, Phasma's silver and the Stormtrooper ones are white and black. But they're the 3D Real D glasses. They've got the Real D logo on that side and the Force Awakens logo on that side. And, you know, obviously we watched the movie with the 3D glasses. And I personally, for the most part, I like standard films better than 3D films, but I had to have the glasses for my collection. Then we've got, well, I talked about this piece in my last video. It's a weird, like, Uncle Milton's Basic Fun is the brand. I've never heard of it before. I don't know if they make other figures as well, but it comes with this neat little stand to set the Star Wars logo on it. They are blind bag lightsabers. I think there's 6 different characters' lightsabers that you can get, and you just take a chance. I literally only bought one just to see how they were. I might buy some more because they're actually pretty cool for $7, I believe. And I just so happened to get Kylo Ren, which fits my collection perfectly, of course. The handles are, you know, the hilts are pretty decently detailed. It's got the external cable. It's got the internal stuff exposed. You know, it's got the end that, you know, this, of course, you know, comes apart, it pops off and everything, and then you can get the batteries out of the inside. But it comes packed like a model, so you break it out of the little plastic card, and then you snap it all together, put the batteries in and whatnot. And in the dark, it lights up really nicely, actually. You know, you probably can't see too much of the light up here. I did that in the last video too. But yeah, it's very cool in the dark, though. I just have to take my word for it. But that was cool for $7. And then we've got a couple Black Series titanium diecast pieces here. We've got the Kylo Ren shuttle, I believe is what this is, the transport shuttle, maybe. But they did a series, a pretty big series too. You can kind of see around this big shelf back here. I've got all of they're called the Black Series Titanium Series diecast ships. The Kylo Ren one was like one of the more rare ones, like a chase kind of variant. And I happened to find it at Target. These were only $5 a piece retail, which I think is a great price for them, especially because they're very, very detailed. The body of this ship is all metal. It's got so much detail with all the little nooks and crannies in the ship, little, you know, guns, little blasters, everything. And then most of them move at least a little bit too in some way, shape, or form. And these ones, this one, the wings happen to kind of raise and lower, which is kind of cool. And they each come with a little stand that, you know, does fairly well holding them up. I think the only one I've had a little bit of trouble with on the stand is the Death Star, and that's because it's just so heavy and it's a ball and it doesn't sit very well in the little plastic stand, but I've got it propped up pretty well up there, and it does pretty well. But that's Kylo Ren's shuttle there. And then another titanium series, Black Series diecast. They did a bunch of helmets. I completed that collection as well. I don't know if I said that I actually did complete all of the ships, which there are 30-something. And only had to order maybe less than a handful online. Found most of them in person for $5 a piece, which is cool. But then the helmets, they did 2 packs of, and these are mainly metal as well. There is some plastic in the face, but it's metal in the bucket, like the lid part. They come on these little stands that, not very easily, but they can pop off the stands. I don't, there's not a point for me to take it off right now, but you can move it around in the stand and get different angles to it, which is a lot cooler with some of the helmets. And then some of them have pieces that remove or pieces that move around and stuff. But the Kylo Ren one is pretty straightforward. It's heavily detailed, which I like. It's got a lot of the battle wounds and whatnot on there. I like that piece. I did complete that too. They all came in packs of 2 for $12 to $15 or so for the 2 packs. And they did a lot of really, really cool, interesting ones. I'll probably go through that whole series in a video. Let's see, what next? I'll go through a couple of these like larger, figures. This one, super, super basic figure, entirely just hard plastic. No, I mean, this part is a little bit flexible, but there's no cloth, there's hardly any articulation to it. It moves a tiny, tiny bit. But these, I believe, retail for like $9 to $10, and then they always end up in like Dollar Generals and stuff like that, which is where I found this one a few years back. It was like $5 at Dollar General, and I just, having a Kylo Ren focus, or having any focus in your collection, of course, when you see it, if it's the character or the focus that you have and you don't have that piece yet and it's a reasonable price especially, you're probably going to go home with it. At least that's how I am. I've passed up, a couple things here and there, of course, that I'm just like, I could do without that. But this is an example of one of it where it was $5. I didn't have it in my collection because I passed it up when it was like $10 retail. And so I grabbed it for half price. Why not? And then we've got, in a similar line as that one, we've got the big figs, 18-inch figures. They did a little more with these, of course. They put actual cloth on his hood and his, cloak and whatever you'd like to call that, I guess. His shawl, hood, cloak, cape, whatever. It's all pretty cool cloth. It's got cool texture to it, kind of like his does. Not exactly accurate, of course, but it's close. And I think these figures are maybe $18 to $20, which isn't too bad. There's pretty good detail. Again, not a lot of articulation. The figure itself is just hard plastic that doesn't move a whole lot, like your basic, points. Maybe, like in his hips, shoulders, his elbows aren't articulated. You can turn his wrists a little, but pretty cool figure. I like just the sheer size to these ones. The 18-inch figures are cool. Then we've got Lego actually put out a series of buildable figures. I've got maybe a handful or so. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've got 6 different ones, including this one. They're all like dark side, more so. Let's see. I've got Vader, Imperial Death Trooper, Captain Phasma, General Grievous, Darth Maul, and then Kylo Ren. They're pretty cool though. There's actually a lot more pieces than it looks like, because inside is torso, and then inside his legs and arms. There's multiple pieces that you have to construct and then assemble it all together. The cloth pieces are a cool bonus that they did with them. I think the only thing they could have done that they do with some of his stuff is they should have textured the blade a little bit, but that's alright though. It's a cool figure. It's fun to put together. And then we've got this Lego piece. It's quite a few pieces. You build the base to it. It's the Starkiller base battle between Rey and Kylo Ren. It actually, you see the trees. That's cool. But yeah, it opens up like that because if you remember, Starkiller base starts to split and get destroyed while they're fighting. This is the scene where he gets his scar on his face because Rey strikes him with the lightsaber. And this figure also, you pop it out, pull his hair off. The other side, I display it with the scar on his face for now, but the other side doesn't have the scar. So you can kind of like do the battle scene if you want to. And their little posts that they're on rotate, so you can, get some lightsaber contact going and battle, a little bit. Split it open, the trees kind of fall over. There's a little bit of space underneath this tree here for storage, because if you're familiar with Lego, you know that they all have like some random extra parts included. A lot of times it's like the easy to lose parts, just so you have a little backup, but that's where I put all those underneath that tree. And then randomly throughout, I placed some extras too, like there's a lightsaber hilt on this tree here. Why not? And some extra like kind of glowing or translucent pieces there for the explosion. But I thought that was a pretty cool build for something fairly cheap, less than $20. It was fun. Took not a lot of time, but enough time where I enjoyed actually putting it together. It's not hard to please me with stuff like that. So let's see. Let's go on to these figures here, which are the Disney Store exclusive die-cast Star Wars Elite series figures. They did quite a few characters in these style figures, and I don't believe they sold super well, but I happened to go down to Destiny USA, which is a pretty large mall in Syracuse, New York. Mainly went because they have a Think Geek store, and I wanted to check out their selection of stuff. I did end up leaving, of course, with a couple things there. But they had a Disney store as well, so I decided to go in, and they had these figures there. Of course, the masked and unmasked Kylo Ren. They are heavy. They're die-cast metal. Like I said, Disney Store exclusives. They come with pretty cool bases if you take them out of the box that you can display them on. I'm mostly an inbox collector, so they still have the little factory like circular tape seals on them. That's just me. But they retail for $26.95, but they were buy one get one free, I want to say. So two of them for less than $30. They've got to weigh close to a pound or so. They're heavy, but they're pretty cool figures. And then in that same Star Wars Elite series line, there's this larger version of Kylo Ren. It's not die-cast or anything, but it's just part of that Elite series. It's pretty detailed. On the back, they kind of highlight the detail on his lightsaber. Even though this one is kind of bent in the box because the way they package them sometimes are not stable, and I think they expect people to be taking them out of the boxes, of course, so you could, get that lightsaber straightened out and whatnot, but lots of good detail in this one, actual cloth and everything, another Disney Store exclusive, but I actually got this one from a local store's vendor booth at like a kind of flea market type mall nearby. The store is called Bartertown Collectibles. It's on Park Ave in Rochester, New York. But he's got, or at least he did, I'm not sure if he does still, but he had a booth that I grabbed this from at a place called Shops on the Ridge in Greece, New York, outside of Rochester. It's like a flea market type kind of mall setup where people rent, booths and sell stuff. And he just had this one in there. I think he had like $20 on it, so I was like, sure, why not? Especially because I had the other two already from the Disney Store. Next, let's do Funko now. We've got two different Kylo Ren in his ships. So we've got him in the TIE Fighter. I want to say this was the TIE Silencer, but I might be wrong. It says TIE Fighter, so we'll call it that, but it's from The Last Jedi. Pretty cool figure. Of course, he's got the scar on his eye from the battle with Rey, and I really like the silly proportions on these when they do them. I've got a couple other like Vader and TIE Fighter pilot and whatnot. The proportions are really silly. Obviously, the figure's head is about the same size as the body of the ship usually. I like that, though. It's really funny. And then, obviously, this is Supreme Leader Kylo Ren from the upcoming Rise of Skywalker movie in his new TIE Whisper. It's got the dual red markings on the body of the TIE fighter. It's really sleek and angular, of course, like all of his ships have been. And then, of course, he's got the Supreme Leader helmet with the red, repair lines, which that's pretty interesting. And I want to say it's kind of modeled. A lot of Star Wars stuff, of course, is modeled after Japanese samurai type stuff. And in Japanese culture, there's like a really, really cool, the name is escaping me right now, but it's a technique basically when things are broken to reassemble the pieces and use, a lot of times they use gold and like soft metals like that to kind of mend them together, and they just end up looking beautiful. And that's basically, I think, what they were going for with his new helmet with all the red lines in it, because he smashed it up in The Last Jedi. So I thought that was pretty cool. And all of the new Supreme Leader figures, of course, have those red lines to the helmet. So I did talk about this one in my last video as well. It was a Barnes & Noble find pretty recently. Then this one here, this is the Clash on the Supremacy. It's part of a set of 2, essentially. I've got the other one up there. Star Wars does the movie moments, which are, fun scenes from the movies and whatnot, scenes that stood out a little bit. This, of course, is from when Rey and Kylo Ren went into Snoke's throne room and battled the Praetorian Guards, and ultimately, Snoke ends up dying in that scene as well. But this shows Kylo Ren with his lightsaber kind of smacking into the Praetorian Guards' chain type of weapon. Well, obviously, it's got like electricity to it. It's got a cool little explosion kind of in the figure there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little picture of it on the back too. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool one. And of course, they're set up so that you can take the version with Rey versus Praetorian Guard, and you can put that here so that you've got Rey here and Kylo Ren here back to back fighting the Praetorian Guards. Pretty cool. Then we've got the rest of the Funko stuff here. Start back with we'll start back with some Force Awakens ones, which are these 4 here. We have, this would be the first just common Kylo Ren pop that came out for Force Awakens. It's got the hood up, full costume and everything, just classic pose with the lightsaber in front and closed hand on the other side. And then we've got the Target exclusive version of that same one. Basically, the only difference in this is that his hood is down. And I remember how much people were kind of talking about the little subtle difference and how they wish that there was more difference. And of course, it's always, you wish that they would put a little bit more into each pop, but I don't mind that there's that subtle of differences in the figures. It's kind of a throwback to a lot of the classic carded figures where there'd be a couple versions of them that would be essentially the same figure, maybe with a different accessory or a different look to it. Like they did a couple different 3POs in the like 90s line of the green carded figures and red carded figures and whatnot in those. And they did 3PO, like same exact figure, but one came with like a net with some parts and stuff, and then there were like 2 or 3 different, or maybe even more, but they did that with a lot of figures. So I like that they do that subtly with these. Then we've got this is another common that they put out. It was one of the second maybe or third waves of the Force Awakens pops, but he's on the snowy like Starkiller base kind of base where most of them are just the black Star Wars base, so it's a little different. And then he's got his hand out, and his lightsaber is a little bit more kind of back and ready to be swung rather than just held in front of him casually. And then this one is the Walmart exclusive of the common, basically. The difference is obviously he's unmasked. Same exact body as the target and the regular common, but unmasked. And actually, what's funny about that too is that, you know, the only difference between these two on the faces is that the eyebrow shape is slightly different. So he's a little bit angrier in this one, I guess. But that's, you know, like I said, subtle differences are kind of cool. If you got to kind of pick out what the differences are, I mean, that gives you a little bit something more to focus on. Then we've got the Last Jedi ones. We have the common Last Jedi one. Essentially the same, I mean, yeah, same, pretty much the same pose as the Force Awakens ones. A little bit different, and then of course his outfit changed a little bit. His tunic is a little more textured in the Last Jedi than it was in Force Awakens, so of course they did that as well. So that's the common. Oh, and he's got his scar from the battle with Rey in Force Awakens, of course. So the Last Jedi figures all have that scar. And then the Toys R Us exclusive from Last Jedi. You know, very similar body on one side of it, but he actually doesn't have his lightsaber in this one, which I think it's the only one that he doesn't have a lightsaber in. Yeah. As far as I know, it's the only one he doesn't have a lightsaber in. Toys R Us had a lot of pretty cool exclusives. I hope they do come back. I heard rumors that they're trying to open their brick and mortar stores back up in the U.S. I think they have Canada stores maybe still. I'm not exactly sure, but that's a pretty cool one too. And then we've got the holographic Target exclusive glow in the dark Kylo Ren. This came in a pretty cool black and blue chrome box with a t-shirt in it with also a holographic Kylo Ren image on it. This one I got from a fellow collector in a local Funko Pop group that I'm part of. I've been part of for a while. And he was really cool about it. He knows I'm a collector. That's got the Star Wars focus, of course, and he let this go after, you know, retail was already done, because they did these online only. They did like Friday exclusive releases, and I didn't happen to get one, and yeah, he let it go a few weeks later for pretty much the same price that he paid for it. So that was pretty cool. So thanks, man. Really cool figure. Not exactly sure why they're doing the glow in the dark holographic Kylo Ren, but it's still cool. And then I've got a couple of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren from the upcoming Rise of Skywalker film. We've got the common here. Again, he's got the red, you know, lines through. Sorry, but my nose rings are bothering me right now. They never bother me until I'm doing a video or something. But anyway, not picking my nose, just adjusting my nose ring. The common, he's got the red lines through his helmet, and he's got his lightsaber at a different angle than he normally does, and he's turned a little bit. It's pretty cool. And then we've got, of course, the Smuggler's Bounty exclusive. I went over this one in my last video as well. Same thing as the last one I just showed you, but he's got his hood up in this one. So again, really subtle differences, but that's cool with me. That's fine by me. I don't need it to be a completely different figure every time if they're going to do a couple exclusives, you know. It would be cool, but it's fine. Okay, so now we're going to do the Black Series figures that I've got. We're going to start with these 3.75 inch figures. We've got the regular one here. Pretty cool, you know, fully engaged lightsaber hilt, actual cloth on part of it for a 375 is pretty cool. That was 2015, and then in 2017 they reissued a bunch of these 375 Black Series figures and put them on the vintage carded kind of look. You know, they even got the Kenner logo and everything like the original kind of vintage figures. Same exact figure, repackaged on a cool vintage card. I like it a lot. Just that subtle change to it being on a card. I do like carded figures a lot, but box figures are really cool too. So had to have those both. And then we've got a few more here. Another 3.75 inch figure. This one is a die-cast figure, part of a 4 figure set. And then they did another wave, I believe, of them too. So if you snap them all together out of the box, all their backgrounds kind of look cool together or whatever. One side of the background is going to be a black and gray version of the figure, so this one's going to be black and gray Kylo Ren. The other side is the burning village from The Force Awakens after he interrogates Lars Tekka to try to find out where Luke went, and then realizes that BB-8 has the map, you know, and programmed into him. Pretty cool figure though. It's a classic pose with his hand out, you know, and lightsaber in the other. And it's pretty heavy, you know, for a small figure. It's got some metal to it, so that was a cool one. And then let's do that scene actually that is from. Is this here? They did the Black Series centerpiece line, which there's, as far as I know, just 3 of them. There's Vader, there's Luke, which I use at the tattoo shop I work at as a business card holder, which is pretty cool. The cards fit really nicely, and like the explosion that lights up on them. It's like a Hoth snow type base. And he's got his X-Wing suit on, he's got his lightsaber and everything, and the explosions all light up on it. And so this one is, of course, that scene where he freezes Poe. I think it's Poe that shoots at him, you know, and he freezes the blaster in the air. If you click the button, short click, you got the light inside the blaster and the explosion that light up here. And then if you long, I think that's about 10 seconds it goes for, and if you long press, it'll stay on. These are very, very fragile though, so be very careful with them. The lightsaber blades are usually connected to the hilt with just a small little peg of plastic. The feet aren't the most stable with the pegs, but it does come with extra pegs, so you could put a couple more figures on here if you wanted to. So very, very cool pieces, just very fragile. So be careful if you do get these and want to pull. I, even as an inbox collector, wanted to pull it out because of the light up and everything. Then we've got a couple of the, let's see, we've got the common, you know, Black Series figures here. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. They started improving certain things and then kind of downgraded certain things too, in my opinion. Like the Force Awakens one, he's got actual cloth for his costume, or, you know, and then Last Jedi one, it's all rubberized plastic, and then the Rise of Skywalker one is still rubberized plastic as well, but the lightsaber hilt has gotten darker and darker through them, which is a little bit more accurate. And then the actual blade to the lightsaber in the Force Awakens one is almost like a matte red plastic, and then they started to get more translucent and a little bit more realistic looking over the years. So Supreme Leader Kylo Ren came from Force Friday this year back in October. It was a cool find. Of course, he's got the red accent lines to his helmet. And then Last Jedi one, he's got the scar on his face. And then Force Awakens, it's almost like he looks just so young and inexperienced in that one, even in a figure. So very cool figures, though. I love the Black Series figures, especially for readily available, fairly affordable pieces at stores. You know, the regular 6-inch ones like that, they range from $18 to $22-ish, I believe. Also grabbed this on Force Friday. It's the animated Kylo Ren from Galaxy of Adventures. So it's kind of a cool Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, of course, with the red lines. It's kind of a cool take, though. It's like curvy and cartoony looking. Also grabbed that on Force Friday, like I said, and I think it was less than $10, I want to say, so wanted to grab that too. And if you pull it out of the box and play with it, it's got the Sith slash, it says on the side, so it just turns his lightsaber. I love stuff like that, though. Super corny, love it. Then we've got the Kmart exclusive, oddly enough, Starkiller Base Kylo Ren. Goes along with the Starkiller Base Rey that I've got up there. She's also got the snowy base that they stand on. He's got like snow sprayed across his cloth cape, cloak, whatever you want to call it. But it's really cool, highly detailed. Classic pose again, lightsaber out ready, hand out to do the Force, to use the Force. But yeah, of course, it's from the battle, you know, between him and Rey on Starkiller Base. And then this is probably the coolest like boxed Black Series figure I've got for Kylo Ren. They started doing a few figures boxed like this with these nice Velcro tabs, and you pull it open, it's got the details on the card here. And then obviously the window where you can see the figure. This one has the most realistic lightsaber for him. The handle actually has the black and stuff on it. The blade looks great. It's got the texture. It's got the translucency. He's got his beat up helmet because it is from The Last Jedi when he smashes it against, all the walls. And then it's got pieces of the throne room floor behind him for Snoke's throne room. So if you set it up, he'll be standing on the throne room floor. This was a Walmart exclusive that I found online and got shipped to the store for free. Well, free shipping, of course. So I think these ones that open like this retail for $29, $30. Which I don't think is too bad, being $8 to $10 more expensive than the regular figures, considering you get more to them, and it's a very, very cool packaging. So then we'll move on to the Black Series helmet. Wonderful looking helmet. I think they retail for around 100 or so. Yeah, great looking, not the best functioning when it comes to the sound. They didn't do a good job with the voice changer in it, but it wears really well at least. I mean, it looks great on. However, if I turn it on and I say, "May the Force be with you," you won't be able to understand me. May the Force be with you. Alright, so you can probably understand it a little bit, but it's just really not, it's not great. And it really wasn't good when it came out of the box. The voice changer is notoriously bad in it. And it had this weird, on the inside, I don't know if you can see where the microphone is right in here. It had this weird disc that just echoed everything way too much and just made it too hard to listen to. So I took that disc out, I moved the microphone a little further away from my face, and eventually I'm going to put some padding, some foam padding in here to muffle it as well, and it might sound a little bit better. But great looking piece, love it. I believe this was also a Toys R Us find when Toys R Us was still around in my area. And then, of course, we go on to my favorite piece in my Kylo Ren collection, the Force Effects Black Series lightsaber. Almost fully metal construction in the hilt. Really nice LEDs in the blade and the exhaust blades. They did package it smooth. So I took some clear silicone and did small section at a time. And as it dried, kind of teased it outward with a fork because it grabbed a lot of the silicone at once and pulled it out. And just kept letting it, each section dry and moved on to the next. Probably took a good couple hours or so to do, but I think it ended up looking a lot more like his unstable blade. Of course, the external wire, it's an actual little like malleable wire there. It's got the exposed internals. And basically you unscrew the end cap to this and you pull out the battery chamber. It's 3 AA batteries, pop back in, screwed in. I hope they come up with a rechargeable version of the batteries. But of course this looks really, really good at nighttime or in the dark. It even looks pretty good though in the light. I'll fire it up here. It's got pretty decent sound chip in it and good LEDs. So as you can see, the LEDs flicker and they look unstable on purpose to go along with his unstable looking lightsaber. When you swing it, of course it's got a few different sounds to mimic the sound that the lightsaber makes when it's being swung. And then if you hit it on things, it's got a couple different sounds for impact. It's definitely not a combat lightsaber for like cosplay and whatnot, but it is very cool to have. I believe they retailed for around $129, but I don't know if you could find them for that anymore. And I would love to get my hands on the newest Black Series. I believe it's like the Elite Series lightsaber. It's got an upgraded sound chip, better LEDs, I think better construction and everything, but it's also almost twice the price, I believe, too. But I'd love to get my hands on that, but for now, this is my favorite piece. I absolutely love it. And that is it for my Kylo Ren collection. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more Star Wars content with my collection. I'll be doing some more videos here soon. And then leave a comment if there's something you want to see, want to know more about, or anything at all. And thank you so much for watching. May the Force be with you.